Hello dear fellow people, I have finally made a new video. Today we will be using a dishwasher sponge and I chose two colors, neutral tint, and this is not the yellow I used, it's this one, gamboge, and a couple of different brushes. It is not super important that you use the exact same brushes as I do, but I will list them in the description. I have this paper that is not cotton, but it is 300 grams, a 4 times 6 inches. I chose it because it fitted nicely for the size of my sponge. If you have a bigger sponge, use a bigger paper. This is what it might look like, depending on what colors you choose. Here are the sponges that I used for those. I still keep them. I could re-wet them and use them again. And see this more as some kind of painting exercise, more than seeing it as a strict paint tutorial, paint along, because yours will look different than mine will. The blue-yellow ones I flattened by spraying the back with water once they had dried, and I put them in some heavy books. I have not done that with these. You see they're all buckled yet, but it will sort out if you wetten the back and put them in some press. And this is not, we're not making great art that is to be displayed in some gallery. This is a painting exercise. This one I almost discarded and threw away because it was so pale in the beginning, but I kept it, and I kind of liked how it turned out in the end. Now, if you don't want to see my art right now, then jump ahead to 6 minutes 34, where I will be showing you how to prepare the sponges. This is me now showing you the art I have been making for the last 2 years, I think. And the reason why I am showing you this is because I want you to understand that none of these paintings would have been created if I had to make them from a white paper. All of these are made from the approach with the spontaneous landscape painting. And your journey might look differently, or I mean, of course, it will look differently because you're a different person. I myself like magical realism, mystical stuff, so I am drawn to that. But it is just to show you how this might end up, or what this approach might lead to. Some of them are more abstract than others, and nowadays I'm not afraid of white canvases anymore, but I still find the approach of blotching paint onto paper very appealing. This, I mean, I don't know how I would have painted this if I had to do it on purpose. This just happened to be like that. And those two figures there were summer and soot, and this is winter and snow. This is gouache, by the way. So by starting out this way, I'm freed of the decision making of how do I start. I find that very difficult. And by starting to paint like this, I don't have to decide that, because the watercolor decides that for me. I just have to decide what colors do I want to use, and then I put them on the paper. And this is the last painting I did, the latest painting I did, not the last, I hope. This is Bao Hong paper. I'm not sponsored. I just like it. And this one I think will be the topic of our next tutorial, where I used another household piece to start this painting with. And now we will start to prepare our sponge. I hope that my dogs, that you can't hear my dogs outside, they're barking right now. I put color on my sponge straight from the tube. Not too much. You really don't need a lot. And that was neutral tint, and now I have gamboge. And I leave a little bit of space between those two colors. I mean, you could put it just straight above, but I have a little bit of space in between. This will be my sky. I put that aside. Clean hands, gloves. And I wet the paper. I use a lot of water, if you can see that. And now for the fun part, where we place it just somewhere in the middle of the paper, and I press, not too hard, but quite firmly. And here we have the start of our painting. I now take a brush. This is a size, was it 6 or 8? And I start to make the pigment move a bit more. I add water, clean water. And I don't know if you can see this, but when doing the sky section, I am tilting the paper downwards so that the water flows upwards, if that makes sense. And you can use any brush for this. Any brush that is a decent size. I mean, you don't want to use a liner or something. You want to use a brush that is a bit bigger, but it doesn't really matter what kind of brush it is. And I'm careful. I don't want to blend the two colors, so I'm quite careful to keep the line between the yellow and the neutral tint. And now I'm tilting the paper downwards and putting more water onto the neutral tint to make that run downwards. Moving the paper to make the pigment go in different directions. And I think I'm quite happy with that, the way it is. I will let that dry and I will put it aside, and we will start with the next one. We will be making, I don't know if I said it already, but we will be making 4 paintings. Wetting the paper again, pressing, and now I'm trying something else. This is not catnip spray. I know it says it on the bottle, but it's an old catnip spray. This is now filled with water because I want to try something else. So I'm spraying it with the water, and you can kind of immediately see how the pigments are behaving differently, how they are moving around, blending with each other. And I'm moving the paper from left to right, playing a bit to get some different effects. I have a lot of water and color on the top, and I'm removing that. I was looking for a tissue here. I didn't have that, so I took a towel and removed some of the water on top. Some of those textures are so nice. They will not always be there once it has dried, unfortunately, but it's still fun to play around and tilt the paper from left to right. And this is the one I was talking about before, that it was so pale at the beginning that I almost threw it away. But don't do that, because it can really turn out nice in the end. I put that aside and I will take my third paper. And now I will not wet it. I will put it just on the dry paper, and now I press really, really firmly. And I get more sharp lines when doing this. Play around with this. I mean, you don't have to do 4 paintings. You can do 10 paintings. Play around with the wetness of the paper. If you wet it a lot, if you don't wet it at all, you could even spray a bit on the sponge. See what happens. Since we are doing a lot of small little paintings, it's not really, the outcome is not really important, because we have several paintings and at least one of the paintings will turn out nicely. So you can rest assured by that and start to play around with the others. Tilting the paper downwards here. I like that line. I want to keep that, so I will not put any moist on that. And I think that is done too. And on to the next. This one I will wet again. Keep the sponge. You can use it later again. Adding just clean water. Pulling some of the pigment sideways. Done with that. Now that they have dried, we will move on to the second phase. I think I'll start with this one. You could already now, I mean, if you put a mat on that, it looks nice already, I think, like a abstract landscape. I want to put on, put in there some more details. I need a bit more color, so I will use some more neutral tint. And some more yellow. This is a super fine little brush my husband got me when he was traveling. It's a nail brush, but I found that it really worked nicely for making small little detailed trees and birds. I started with putting tiny little birds in the sky. And then I started to add distant trees. And some on the left side. This is completely aftertaste. You can put in a lot, a few, none at all. I mean, the the painting would have been fine just the way it was from the beginning. I felt I needed more birds on the right side. As you can see, the camera is on and off, out of focus. I'm sorry about that. I did not realize that. I didn't see that when making the video. I'll have to figure something out to prevent that. And I think I am kind of happy with that. See, I mean, I think it looks nice. Christmas gift for mother-in-law. Check. We go on to the next. I think I want to make a distant tree line. This is a 3.030 liner / rigger, starting with vertical lines and just dabbling a bit of what is supposed to be branches in there. Doesn't have to be that detailed. That's me. If you've seen my 2 other videos, you realize that when I'm moving around the brush like that, it's me thinking. This, I would say, is the focal point. I don't want to put a tree line exactly there, so I'm making more trees on the left, starting again with just vertical lines. And filling that in to give it a bit more body. And now I'm thinking I'll just put a tree here. A dead pine tree. We have a lot of those here on Åland Islands. Some gnarly branches. And then I'm thinking, should I put another one there? Maybe another tree. And when I can't really decide, I take a brush just to give me some visual aid. How would it look if I put a tree there, maybe there, and yes, no, yes, no. And I mean, in the end, you have to make a decision. So I decided, yeah, well, I'll just put another tree there. And again, some gnarly branches. lots of little pieces that have been broken off by wind and stuff. And again, it's a lot on and off focus. I'm sorry for that. That's basically what the world looks like when I don't have glasses on. Everything is out of focus. And some tiny birds. And the smaller the birds, in the end you just make little marks because they are further away. And I think this one is done as well. On to the next. I have to decide and what direction I want the painting to be, horizontal or vertical. And I decided I want to have it like this, and it gives some kind of misty feeling. I am diluting the neutral tint with quite a bit of water. And I will paint a tree. Not really being too careful. When I'm making branches, I try not to paint them as corals or algae, like waves. Try to make them in more sharp angles. I just chose the wrong kind of paper here, but maybe you can see it anyway. If you try to make the angles a bit more sharp, you will actually end up with a more realistic depiction of a tree. So you kind of wiggle the brush a bit, but you don't make waves. And here I'm trying to figure out the way to paint so you won't see my hand, but that you actually see what I'm doing. And now I'm thinking of the other side, but I'm starting to add a bit more trees in the background. Really just suggesting that there are more trees. Now I'm putting some on the left side. I felt that it needed to be a bit darker because the tree on the right is closer to us, so it needs to be a bit darker. And this is kind of in and out of focus again. I'm sorry about that. Some more distant trees. And even darker. As you paint along, or as you continue in the painting, some things might just be apparent after a while, and I thought that no, it's still a bit too pale, needs a bit more pigment. Contrast is really, really important. I think the number one beginner mistake is having everything too pale. You need to put in your darks to have a contrast. And now I felt like I wanted to put in a light spot, sun or moon or whatever. This is a size 6 synthetic brush. It's quite stiff. It's good for rubbing. So I will only use clean water and rubbing that place where I want the pigment to go away, and use tissue to suck it up, make it a bit bigger. And there we have it. Yeah, moon. I think it's a moon. I like the feeling of this. It's a bit like Sleepy Hollow or something. And still not really happy with the dark, so putting in even a bit more branches, a bit more dark. Putting in some birds. And I think I'm done with that too. So on to the last one. I like the moon / sun, so I put it in here too. I like this line. I really like the structure, so I will not be adding any water there. I'll be painting in a tree on the left side. This was really a lot in and out of focus, so the main part of this I just edited away. And you can put a tree here, you could put a little house there, you could put a pine tree there, you could put nothing at all there. Making the base a bit softer. Two birds, and now I wanted to add something in the foreground. So since this is basically just experimenting, I took I think it's the same brush that I used before, the size 6, and just splattered some neutral tint in the foreground just to give it a bit more interest. And I would say we are done here. These are our 4 paintings, or my 4 paintings. Again, your paintings will look differently, but I hope you got inspired. I hope that you thought it was fun. You could use bigger sponges and bigger paper. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. If you have questions, please ask them in the comments. I will answer them. I think next time I will try to add music for those who want to. I think that there are 2 different ways you can add, like audio tracks, different audio tracks. I will try to figure that out. Let me know if you like this. Was it too long? Was it too slow? Was it boring? More close-ups? Just let me know. Yeah, so I will see you again next. I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe I was trying to, I don't know, I guess I'm talking about the backside, but it doesn't matter. I will see you again next time. Thank you so much for the very warm welcoming of my other 2 videos. I'm really blown away by that. I'm so happy that you like them, and I will see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.